Welcome back. Gonna finally do this video I mentioned earlier after our Stanley Cup Championship here in the year 2026, exactly 20 years to the day from our first ever Stanley Cup victory over the Edmonton Oilers, our second over the Vegas Golden Knights. What a year it's been. So I'm gonna go over personally my top 10 moments of the year. It was a very fun season. Clearly, this is how you exactly want things to go. You want to end with a championship patch right there on the shoulder. So looking forward to another good season, and hopefully we can make a attempt at being repeat champions like the last two Florida teams have been. So starting with our top 10, we'll get to the top 5 and we'll give a couple honorable mentions and we'll go from there. So of course, starting the top 10 list, number 10 is our 6-3 victory over the New Jersey Devils on opening day. Very good way to start the season. Was a lot of fun, but in particularly that last goal that made it 6-3. Eric Robinson came out of nowhere and just as if it wasn't bad enough with the empty netter like 20 seconds ago, just puts one more past the goalie to make it 6-3. Was very entertaining, was a lot of fun, and that was up there for memories in like New Jersey Devils wins because it was the 10th one I've ever had against the Devils. So we got into double digits. There's a lot of hype for me and my friends coming up around the game, pumping up to that moment. So had a lot of fun, enjoyed that moment. Was a great way to start the season and kind of give us some high hopes. We knew there was gonna be a little back and forth. And when you start a season, you don't know quite what to expect. You just hope you win. Last year before that game we played the Lightning, we had lost that game. We did score first though. Stahl scored that game, game's opener. So, New Year, facing the Devils, an opponent we're really, really good against. That was a lot of fun. Enjoyed that. And then, that last goal there was definitely one that kind of like one for the ages. Just kind of a great way to start the season. Everybody went home happy and just kind of like picked up where we had left off in the first round the year prior against the Devils. So, just kind of kept the ball rolling. We all very enjoyed that very much. It was a lot of fun that night. Number 9 would be our first road win since the year previous, and that would be against the Philadelphia Flyers. Jackson Blake's shootout winner against Philadelphia Flyers. That goal in particular, it was a long time coming. That game was very testy, back and forth. Flyers took an early lead, and that one was very frustrating. Then we got the shootout, and everybody was making saves, and then Jackson Blake finally got one. And that was like the best way Paul's gonna get the monkey off of the proverbial back there. It had been a good long while since we had a road win. We saw Seattle beat them and then just got beat pretty bad in some of those games too, just continuously. So it was what it was. You don't like getting shut out in the past, and you finally got to get the monkey off your back. So that was cool. It was a great moment because we had lost to Dallas earlier that year. So I was starting to wonder if we were going to win on the road ever again. Should I just stop going to road games? So that was a lot of fun. Led to a really good year. Had a wonderful season after that as well. So that is moment number 9. Enjoyed that one. Number 8 would be the back-to-back shootouts. So following that game, we came straight home. Me and my cousin did a back-to-back that weekend. Flew to Philly, came back, and we played Philadelphia again. So the players, same thing. They just played a game. They're going to have to come over to Carolina, play game number 2 of that 2-game set. And we would shoot out again. And Svetch made up for his mistake that he made in that previous game. Svetch in that first game on the road, he whiffed on the shot. He was trying to go for a wrist shot or something like that, and it just went right off the tape. Never got the shot off, and that was an embarrassing moment for him there. And then he comes up clutch with the game winner, and then Bussy with the stop ends up saving the day. And that's how you get that victory there too. So back-to-back shootouts is a very memorable thing. Not to mention it was a back-to-back game. So we went and saw the same team 2 times in 2 nights. So very busy weekend for us there with travel and everything involved. Had a lot of fun there. And the weather was crazy in Philadelphia. It snowed. So big moments like that's why these things are so memorable for like this season. Like these were really, really big moments on these trips and these journeys. This is why road trips are so much fun because you never know how they're going to play out, especially when you do stuff like back-to-back. Teams have backup plans and private charter jets that they'll leave at their own volition. Us, regular people, we don't have that. So, Frontier Airlines, they did their job perfectly, and I'm glad that all worked out. Because how are you gonna rebook things if things don't work out or something like that? So like the weather was crazy, especially getting that shootout goal in the second game. Back-to-back shootouts doesn't happen very often, and I believe the Hurricanes were like 3 straight games on shootout victories at that moment too, dating back to the Washington Capitals. So it was just a crazy set of 3 games. It's a crazy weekend, and really enjoyed that one. Had a lot of fun on that game as well. That'll take us to our 7th spot on the list. So for spot number 7, we have Andrei Svechnikov's hat trick against the New Jersey Devils in New Jersey. So again, back to the Devils. Looking forward to seeing get the streak to continue. We did beat them one more time, just to make that clear. Later on in the season, they went to both home games against the Devils, so we did get that sweep. But that was just another game. I didn't really feel too much movement out of that. Just kind of happened to be beating the Devils that one. But back to spot 7, Svech's hat trick was just something really, really fun. That arena, the Rock Prudential Center, was a really cool place, really cool building. That gaming center for everybody, that was really fun. Played against some people. I won my own game with Svechkov scoring the game winner, so I felt like it was meant to be, something that was really meant to happen. Svech's hat trick, first one on the road for anybody for that matter. So and those back-to-back hat tricks. Elvis had the hat trick the night prior, so we were really rocking there. It was fun going to the Devils arena and getting that win. It was been a great season up to that point as well. Had other road victories coming up at that point, so enjoyed that. Had fun. Couldn't throw my hat though, being that far up, but it's a cool experience. You never know you're going to see another hat trick. Like all year long, we had players with 2 goals. They couldn't get that third, so finally getting that done and like watching your team, have really cool games like that, especially on the road after having a season like we had last year. That was just a really fun moment, really cool, and glad I kept that ball rolling on not just the Devils, but road victories, especially in the Metro, where it was really important at that time, keeping our points lead and trying to keep an advantage for ourselves, and going into that playoff mode. It was about right in the first half of that season, right there, if I remember correctly. So starting to think about the Olympic break. We're going to come out of the Olympic break for playoffs and everything. So like these are really key moments that start to set the stage for what being our big playoff push. So that was fun, and we hope to see do a couple teams next year and see if we can keep that ball rolling. Have a lot of fun on that part. Number 6, Whalers night against the Utah Mammoth. That whole night in general was really stressful. Everybody was hoping that we could win again. We had just lost to Colorado on Whalers nights a couple months ago. So our point streak was dead. But coming into that game, it was like, okay, it's Whalers night. We're gonna have fun with this one. We're gonna enjoy, everything that comes with Whalers night. It's a very fun event. Pays homage to our team's history. Team's almost 50 years old now. It's 46 seasons organization. It's our 28th as the Hurricanes. So, really important stuff going forward there. And we got ahead early and then just fell into a funk. We got really beat up by Mammoth, fell behind, and then out of nowhere we came back, extra attacker goals. And most fans, we were hoping, we were pushing because we did have a lot of momentum, but we kind of settled in overtime, or into thinking we were going to go to overtime. And then out of nowhere, Stahl tips in a great bounce for that goal to win a regulation. Just from being down that far to regulation win was super exciting, super entertaining. Had a lot of fun with that. And you never know how things go with that. You hope for those moments, and you're really excited that those moments happen. Wins don't happen like that all the time, and that was actually a sign of things to come. We did that a lot in the playoffs, especially in that final round, and we're gonna get to that. Where we played Vegas, we had a lot of come from behind wins. Same thing in round 2, a couple come behind wins there. Couple gritty wins against Montreal. That set the stage of what a team should do when they're down. You shouldn't just give up, roll over. Each 2 points matter, and then we get to playoffs. You win or you lose. You don't want to go to overtime. You don't have to. The extra stress on the body, the hits, it adds up. So if you can get a regulation win and go home after 60, that's exactly what you want. And on a theme night like Wales Night no less, which means a lot to the fans and to the heritage of the team, that was a lot of fun. And you don't plan for those. They just kind of happen. And when they happen, you enjoy them and you hopefully remember them for many, many years to come. And that was a big moment. there for our season. I enjoyed that very much. So going on to the next spot, but Whalers Night will be one to remember for a long time. All right, a couple of honorable mentions. Said we are going to get to that top five. So we did the first five, so 10 through 6. And so here's a couple of honorable mentions real quick. So we have Brandon Bussey's first career shutout against the Calgary Flames. That was a nail biter game. It was 0-0 the whole time, and then we got to overtime. And thanks to a goal there by Ehlers, Bussey of course is granted the shutout victory. That's how the cookies crumble. You never want to see a 0-0 game going into overtime like that because like it just adds the stress of like, well, who breaks first? And like you don't feel bad that you lost because like you get goalied like that. That's what happens. Sometimes you just don't get enough shots off, or sometimes shots just get blocked, and you don't get lucky. It was a really really crazy game against the Flames. So like that was a really cool moment. Glad Buzz had his first shutout there. He had a really good season. Um, Goaltenders night. That's another cool moment. Not much happened, unfortunately. That was a 2-0 victory against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. And I had a lot of stuff going on personally, dealing with a death in the family at the time. So, like, we were glad that we won that game. I was just kind of glad to be there. But I had so much going on, and, like, the game didn't end up being very eventful. So, life happens. Just one of those games, just kind of happy to go. And then, the 7-2 victory against the Chicago Blackhawks. That was the other honorable mention. It was late in the season. It didn't really mean anything. We already locked in first place in the Eastern Conference. So we were just kind of going for the 100th anniversary season and happened to have a good time. We won 7-2. A lot of goals out of nowhere from a lot of non-usual players, and then some of the eventual key players on that Stankoven Blake Hall line. They were getting warmed up, and we just didn't know it. Nick Delorier's first point, that was huge. Really solidified him as being a part of the team. I'm glad he's here for 2 more years. He's going to be really helpful keeping people from beating up on our team when we have those really rough and tumble games. So looking forward to how he plays on our team and him being a physical presence. That'll really help out in the long run. So those are some of the honorable mentions from the season that I thought I'd get to, and then on to the top 5 from there. So not in playoffs just yet, but to start kind of the playoff feeling at number 5, we have the Stanley Cup returning to Raleigh for the first time. It was game versus Columbus. That whole weekend, it was our 20th anniversary weekend of Stanley Cup, not knowing then that how big the season would be now. So for our night, it was a night we had like all the old veterans come back. So Brendan Moore laced up the skates. You have Justin Williams, stuff like players like that. They came back out, played the NC State Wolfpack. That was a lot of fun. And not just that, but they brought the cup out in the ice for photos, and they had a little hoist around, which was really cool. And we were really grateful as a fan base. Like, yeah, we remember that day. That day was super cool back in 06. But we get to look to the future. Like, you want to do it again. And I didn't get any footage of it, which I hate. But like, there was a moment where Rod Brind'Amour, they're trying to hand Rod the cup. He's like, no, not yet. Our time comes later. And sure enough, it did. And that was a cool moment there. And then, of course, they brought it back out one more time during that Columbus Blue Jackets game to recognize that 06 team. That was a wonderful moment. Chuck Caton was there. A lot of the former players were able to make it. Some now passed. But that was a very cool moment. Like, kind of set the stage for what it ended up being a really, really, really cool season for us in the end. And so now we get to the playoff moments. Top 4 from here on out. At number 4, even though we didn't win this game, the moment in particular, we're getting more specific here, was that first minute of hockey during the Stanley Cup Finals. Nikolai Ehlers coming out of nowhere. It was a tipped pass out of the zone around a defender. Nikolai Ehlers gets on his horse, skates it down, and then it's just post in. Was an amazing start to the Stanley Cup Finals. We really wish we could have won that game for the fans there. But that's how you kind of ask for it to start. Those are the moments, those are the key things you want they're not just in a hockey game, but like it's just for a Stanley Cup final game. Those are the moments you live for. It was really entertaining. That game was really entertaining. I really wish we could have won that game. Ehlers was really key in that series. He did a lot for us in the playoffs. I'm glad he chose us and he came to our team last offseason. That was a signing that immediately paid off. Thank you, Eric Katulski, for that. But that goal for my Stanley Cup experiences, especially for being there in person, um, I was super hyped about that. Like that's all I could have dreamt of. The last 8 years, these moments, hoping, praying for just a chance at it. That was a core memory for. Oh, it's going to be a core memory for a long time. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Like I said, wish we won, but being up early, a fast start like that, like we hadn't even sat down. We're just glad to be in the moment. Super excited about that goal. That goal was huge for us and the fans and getting settled in and just giving us hope and not just like okay we're back and it's gonna be like another ECF or anything. That gave the fans hope that we can actually do this. The players knew then that yes they could do it. Um, that was a spark we needed. It didn't work out that first game. It worked out game 2, game 4, 5, and 6, but that was a spark you need to start. That's how you start a season, set a tone. And Ehlers, thank you for that. That was a great moment. We'll be remembering that one for a very long time. So number 3, going back to the beginning of the playoffs. Game 1. That's the memory. The entirety of game 1. We come in, it's a new matchup. We've never faced the Ottawa Senators before in the playoffs. And we're already going to face off. All right, cool. We're gonna treat it like a regular season game to a fault. That's kind of how most first round games feel to me personally. At this point, especially they do them every year. But we're gonna go into the first round. It's fine. And then no, we get a fight off the draw. You got Chuck. You got Stahl. They start a fight. That's a crazy start of the game. First period, even though there was no scoring, was very physical. And then you finally get Logan Stankoven to score. And that started a trend of him scoring in every of the first 5 games of the playoffs. He went red hot. He and that entire line started becoming like the top of the league. That was like the big notes. Something I thought was very funny was they announcers on TV during the Buffalo series were like, "This guy has more points than anyone else in the league," but it's not really fair because Hurricanes are done. They swept. That set the tone for our playoffs. And that entire game in a nutshell was a really huge moment with the shutout. Frederick Anderson, he's going to go to Edmonton Oilers next season. So we thank you for your service. Thank you for this Stanley Cup and all the years you gave to Carolina. We appreciate your time here, Frederick Anderson. That was a lot of fun, and we appreciate your time here. You will be remembered, and we welcome you back. And when you come down to Carolina and you play us the one time next season, but that whole game. That was an amazing start to our playoff run and was glad to be there for a part of it. Moment number 2 would just be the entirety of the beatdown and winning the Eastern Conference Final for the first time since 2006. It is crazy to think that it took us 20 years to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals, but we're glad it's over. Because we lost in 09, we lost in 19, we lost in 23, we lost in 25. The fans were getting a little anxious, and we were starting to wonder, like, how many times can you lose in the conference final and Rod Brindamore keep his job? How many times can you lose in the conference final and you keep this core? How many times can you lose in the conference final before you blow it up, right? We needed that conference win more than we needed to win the Stanley Cup, because it's the hardest trophy to win in sports. You want to win it all, and every year you go like, hey, this is our year to win it, here's the reasons why, and like, it ended up being true, like, yeah, Florida's gone, they're out the way, Tampa's eliminated, they're out the way, all I got left is Buffalo and Montreal, and they're good teams, but when it comes down to brass tacks of who has, more effort, more energy, more oomph, when it comes to giving it all on that 61st minute, that really goes down to Carolina. So, having Florida out the way when it comes to like teams who were physical, that was important. That was really, really key. This was our season to win or lose at the end of the day. You look at the Western Conference, you have a young team in the Utah Mammoth, you had a young team in Anaheim, you had a a really beat down team in Colorado because they won the President's Trophy. They won so many games. They're being so physically beaten in their series. Dallas Stars were eliminated. Minnesota got eliminated by Colorado, and they weren't even at full potential. It was our year to win or lose, and I'm glad we won. But what was really important to us and a lot of the fans was simply getting to the finals. We had to know that we could do it. And winning that game, and not just winning it, but winning it 6-1, not only made up for game one of that series for all the fans who were there that night, but just was a statement win that we weren't just, oh, we accidentally took our way to the finals. No, we deserved to be there. We won four straight. It was a gentleman's sweep of the Montreal Canadiens, and game five, it showed. And that was a moment I had been waiting so long for. It was something I've been so frustrated watching us in the Eastern Conference Final the last three attempts for us losing all those games. I lost game one against Florida in quadruple overtime. So I lost to game one in Florida. We got blown out that game. So I lost in game five to Florida. And then that game one in Montreal, I started to think that we just couldn't do it. I was genuinely worried. So that win in game five against Montreal was everything. It was huge. It was really, really important that we got that done. And I'm glad to have been there to witness it and just be a part of the crowd and the joy that came with finally getting over that hump. Because that's something that not only the fans have been waiting for the last 20 years, but a lot of the new fans who had known nothing but the Rob Brind'Amour have been waiting for the past 8 years. This core had been trying for a long time. It finally got over that hump, and it was huge. So that is a really huge memory and a really great moment of our season. And I'm going to remember that for a long time. And then memory number one, I think it's pretty obvious, even though I wasn't in Vegas, but is our win of the Stanley Cup, being outside of Lenovo Center, the parade that followed. That moment was a moment worth taking off work for. I do thank my coworkers for covering me and my shift that day, because I told us, like, I don't know how many times we're going to get a chance at this. Like, we've been trying for 8 years, and this is our first time going. It's kind of a big moment for all of us. And one, so appreciations to them for letting me go that day. Really, unfortunately, we couldn't get tickets to go inside on the watch party. We had to watch outside, but even still, that was a fun experience, a fun moment. I hope we do it again next year. Hope we have more watch parties, inside, outside, wherever, coming in for future playoff runs. Hopefully, try to run it back next year and do it again. That'll be a lot of fun. Um, this season, coming down to the final, especially winning that game, it's one for everybody. It's one for the players, their families, our fan base, the city, this region. No team in North Carolina has won the championship at the major league level except for the Carolina Hurricanes, which is unfortunate to say. The Panthers have made two Super Bowls, they didn't win it. The Hornets never made a finals. They never made that second round for that matter. Um, we don't have a baseball team, so the state winning a championship, each one at any level, is sweeter and sweeter when they happen because you don't get a chance at them very often. We haven't won a Super Bowl yet as a state. We haven't. We don't have an MLB team. The Durham Bulls, though, they've won a few championships, but even then, it's not the World Series at the end of the day. So being able to witness a Stanley Cup win for a second time, but one I'm going to remember for a long time, because I don't remember much of '06, unfortunately. I was 7 years old. I wasn't really watching hockey on TV like that back then. But being able to actually truly enjoy this championship. That's why it's taking me so long for this video. Is like I don't really know how to explain it all. Um, it's been a wonderful season. This is a moment you want to happen for so long, get expected to, and now it's here. Um, I'm grateful, 100%, 1,000% grateful for the players, the team, this franchise, ownership, and everything. This city for holding on to this team. Back in 2018, there was talks of moving the team to another location. We could have become the Vegas Golden Knights, for crying out loud. Like it's a crazy experience to think about that. So here we are. Super thankful for this season. It was a lot of fun. Those are my top 10 moments of the year. Hoping to run it back, do it again. Looking forward to going on games on the road if we can. Looking forward to opening day when you raise some new banners in that building. They're currently renovating Lower Bowl as we speak. So a lot of work going on at Lenovo Center. Looking forward to it. Super happy about this season, how it concluded, and how it started, and how it went, and that we didn't have too many injuries. Only 2 players going through major rehabs this offseason. Speedy recovery to those players, and hope they come back stronger, better than ever. Looking for more record highs. Just about everybody signed. There's not really much to do for this offseason for the Hurricanes except for get healthier, get better. If you can sign a key player, sign them. If you can't, I mean, everybody's locked up to like 6, 7+ year deals except for like 2 players. One because Stoll might retire after the next season, or because Doyer's on his 2-year deal technically. So we're good. We're locked up. Run it back. Do the best you can. Stay healthy. Because target's on your back now, just like it was for Florida Panthers and Lightning and Vegas and Colorado last 6 years. It's our turn. Everybody's chasing us. Remember earlier in the season, the little promo videos. This is how you make a champion. It's been made. So, time to defend it. Hopefully it's better than 07, because in 07 we missed the playoffs entirely. So let's do a little bit better than that. But that aside, it's 84 game season now. No longer 82 games, 84. Gotta want it. Records are out there to be had. Go get you some. Try to run it back next year and do the best we can. It was really fun. Looking forward to next season. So I'll see you guys next time. That's my top 10 moments of the season. Let me know what your guys' top moments were. And I'll see you guys next time. Go Canes.